Yeah, the human rights situation is deteriorated during the lockdown.
We've had cases of deaths, 4 deaths, emanating from poor quality of water that is being delivered. So that's the first strand in terms of violations. And what that has forced the citizens, particularly women, to queue at public water points, which are bores, as the main access points. And you get around 400 people, 1,000 people queuing at a bore to access water. So that's the first point. Then the second one is on the price. If you look at the skyrocketing prices on water for local authorities, it is now beyond the reach of majority of residents. Just yesterday I was in Budiriro looking at the water kiosk in Budiriro. They are selling 400 megaliters at 100 RTGS. So what it means is each liter is costing $1. So you cannot expect citizens to then access water under such conditions.
The gaps that have been exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to make sure that as we try to emerge out of the pandemic, we address things like healthcare. If you look at the government's approach in terms of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, what you will realize is that the government is depending on well-wishers.
When you force people to make a choice between health and livelihood, it just means you don't know how people live. If people live hand to mouth, they live as daily wage earners, there's no way that you can come up with a response that says you are going to be locked down and you don't have a chance to go out and have some opportunity to a livelihood, and you don't provide as a state that opportunity to a livelihood. That's a completely impossible choice that no one should ever be forced to make.
Honestly, no government across the world had budgeted for this. But the president then said, no, let us come up with this cushioning allowance. On top of that, you may also need to know that besides the cushioning allowance, government has also been providing food relief support to vulnerable communities.
The most grave reports that we have received are to do with police brutality. We have received quite a number of reports of people being harassed by the police.
Into yenzakalayo ukuthi lapha bengikhona lapha endlini around 3 emini. Masuka lapha ngathi ngithengile umama amatomatisi phezulu lapha ngesikhathi kona phezulu uqala i-lockdown. Yongasathengeki sesingela lutho imali sasayithola ntambama. Yabona. So ngithi ngiyaphuma lapha ngihamba ngeroad le kuthiwa umsose street lapha ngihlangana lamasosha amangaki i4. Bonke bagaxile baphethe izibhamu. Right. Bathi ambush lapha mina ngithi ngiyaphuma nje lapha sahlangana ekhoneni. Abayi2 phambili, abayi2 emuva nawe ngifake phakathi. Bemfake phakathi. Zehamba be-escorta mina ngiphakathi, abanye ngi2 balida bayaphambili. Abanye basemuva siyafika kwenye tuck shop lapha bathatha lokho zeni ama-poi tuck shop. Baqala ukungichaya ama-tuck shop. Ngathi wangichaya maybe 5 times emhlana lapha athi bengichaya lapha na then okwe-6 sensithi ngizama njani ukuvika. Lachayela izandla kwanisa kanjani siqhamuka. Icala lapha vele icala khona azange licala ukuthi icala khona uhamba njani. Bebekhala ukuthi kulomnyaka kwabulawa khona amasosha abantu ephindura kabezwa njani ngingazi maybe igama lesindebele lange nga crossfire but ingazi ade ngelive licala ukuthi mbe silama previous asazani ngiyabantu sapho ngihlala that day.
The worst situation was the situation in Bulawayo in Mabutweni, where the police killed someone accusing him of breaking lockdown rules. Then we had the torture of the Mpofu sisters in Caudry Park, and then the torture of the opposition MP leaders.
we never saw daylight as we were in the pit. So we also lost count of time and what date of the week it was. But then they also came back with plastic cups and made us do our urine, which we then exchanged. I drank Joanna's urine, Nitsai drank my urine, and Joanna drank Nitsai's urine. And then they told them to defecate so that they could exchange. But at that time, I could not defecate because that's when the cruel guy, who did not even hide his face, looked me in the eye and came and started sucking my breast. And they were now exchanging, the two of them. The other one was on the other breast, the other one on the other. They were biting me. I even had wounds. When I came to the hospital took pictures of the wounds because I've never seen such on my nipples. Joanna and Nitsai ate feces. But most of all, the most painful thing that I wake up remembering because of the pain I have even as I lie on this bed is them taking a very big gun, almost like those ones they use at bed shooting, and putting it inside my anus. They didn't do it once, they did it twice, asking me how I feel. But it felt very painful because it was sharp pain. I even have cracks, so now I can't do solid. I have to make the dietitian made sure that I only passed 2 that is watery because it was painful. After attempting with a gun in my back, he then attempted again with one of those things, I'm not sure what you call them in English, from the maze, because you're saying the gun is too small for you. So he started wanting to force the maze called stick into my anus. So that's basically how they tortured us. They sexually assaulted us, they brutalized us, and they treated like we were animals.
It's sad when we have people with broken legs and broken arms, whoever caused it, whoever did it. But now it's not fair to conclude that it was done by soldiers. The problem with our people, they don't lodge formal reports. That's the problem. When whatever happens to them, they run to Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. They run to Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition. They run to several organizations that we know their survival is based on creating stories.
Government wishes to state categorically that it does not engage in or permit any of its agencies and institutions to use such methods as torture, forced disappearance, or abductions. As a matter of fact, these terms are alien to our culture and way of doing things. And we believe they are extrapolated from foreign environments where they are rife in order to generate negative sentiments against our government for the benefit of the sponsors of regime change and their Trojan horses that now permeate and polarize our society.
When I think about what happened to me in 2008, I'm actually appalled when people begin to talk about other people's experiences as being fake. What I would say is that it's a system that has continued. There is no difference. The difference of having a different individual leading is no difference at all, but the system has continued, and the system continues to use the same operations that they were doing from time immemorial since we got our independence up to now. And I think the actors are just the same actors.
When you ask what should the state do right, it's really opening up space for citizens' voice and citizens' will to shape the destiny of this country. There's no other way to look at democracy. It's about citizens' voice and the primacy of the citizen voice.